Hi, it's Luke here from Proactive, the instant reporting app supported by England Rugby and RugbySafe. And today we're going to be talking about submitting reports, which is the bulk of why the app was created to make your life easier in Grassroots Rugby. So all we need to do is log into the app or the web version. You'll be on the dashboard already, as we see it here. And then at the top or at the bottom, there is a button anyone will do that says submit report. And today we're going to look at an incident, which is the most likely version of events. But once you get a hang of this, you'll see that it's a very simple process and you'll be able to do that, I'm sure, for all of the other types of instances. Concussions, we will do a separate video on that, so keep an eye out for that. But we'll start with submitting an incident. So here you can see the list, report an incident. And most of this is a drop-down menu, so it's relatively straightforward, just putting the time and the date in, which venue were we at, which pitch were we on, an incident summary. We can put that in, and then we can classify the type of incident. In this case, it was an injury to a player, but as you can see, there are a number of other instances which you might want to report. And then the group which it was associated to. So under 12 boys. Hit next. Now, just remember, when we're adding the details, they are not saved anywhere else. So they're saved and associated to this report, but they won't be in the system later for anyone else to see. So it is obviously a case of having to add them in every time. Name, date of birth, group's already selected. And then we head on through, and it's going to ask you what area was injured because this was an injury. Obviously, that's the type of incident reported. So we're going to put it was a leg because it was a twisted ankle. There may be more than one injury, but in this case, we're just going to stick with the twisted ankle. Luckily, nothing further to report. We're going to add some details about the incident. Where did the injury occur? This means where on the pitch or where in the facility. Just go through and fill these in. There's a few optional extras here. So was first aid administered? Yes. In this case, were the guardians informed? Yes, they were. They were informed on the day. How were the guardians informed? Face to face. Actions taken to reduce risk. In the future, I think this was just bad luck, but we could look at a assessment of pitch or some pre-ankles. No additional notes needed. And we're going to click next. Now at this point, you're going to see the summary of the incident. You can check through, see that makes sense, and that's up to date and correct. And then when you click next, you're going to see the option here to sign it. So I'm going to click there, we're going to sign it, and it's going to ask you if there's any more action that's required. In this case, there isn't, but for instance, you might not have told the parents on the side of the pitch, they may not have been there, so you may want to put an accident or an additional information required to remind you to do it. But here we're going to submit it. And when we go back to the dashboard, then under instances, there we go, we're going to see that incident, we're going to see there's no actions required. You can see a previous incident that was reported, it does have an action that's required, and that means that whoever's associated with this group can see that there's something that needs to be done. They can go ahead and make sure that's done, and we can keep on top of the incident and any actions that arise from it. So there we go, a pretty straightforward way of editing and adding an incident into Proactive. That then is going to be in the dashboard, and the right people are going to be able to see that and see any actions that need applying to it. And then later on, as I say, we'll do a video on how to report concussions, which in themselves are obviously a very important part of the Proactive app and the tool that you've been given. But in general, hopefully that's been very helpful.